So good. Nikki, welcome to Spark TV.
Thank you for having me, Danielle.
I'm so excited. We were just chatting about, so you're a new Spark member and you have just launched right in. And I was just telling you how amazing you are for being a go-getter. I love people who take advantage of all of the opportunities in Spark. So I am so excited to share your story on the podcast.
Thank you.
So good. Well, let's start there. Let's start by telling everyone who you are and what you do.
Who on earth am I? So
Who the heck are you?
I ask myself that question usually every morning when I wake up. I go, what am I doing here? So I'm Nikki Cali. I am the founder of a content and community management platform. So called Wisdome. And this has been a platform that's been in the run for about 4 years since conception.
Wow.
And look, it was brought out through pain and purpose. So my background, however, is in product development
Ah,
and
cool.
in marketing. I was a product buyer in textiles, actually, interestingly enough, over 20 years ago. And then I went out on my own. I've always had the entrepreneurial mind set. So I went out on my own and built a luxury linen brand. And
Wow, cool.
yeah, and that sort of evolved into consulting services and traveling to amazing places. And yeah, and then falling pregnant a second time, but as a mature mum,
Hmm.
and was told, no more travel. You have to stay in bed. And I thought, what the hell am I going to do with myself now? So I started a membership and then couldn't find the tool, and wham bam thank you ma'am, I became a founder of a platform
A
out of
tech
just
founder. Oh
pure
my God.
pain and purpose. So yeah, I think hubby at that time, because I was pregnant and like, I just want to do something, just said, all right, let's do it. So yeah.
I love it. And I'm so blown away because I studied fashion and
Oh,
was a fashion person and then got into being a tech founder. I don't know what the
yeah.
connection is with that.
You got to be creative, don't you? You've got to be
Maybe that's
creative.
it. Yes, that's
Yeah.
it. So I wasn't a tech kind of person. I was, yeah, a creative and a sales and marketing person as well. And then I was like, maybe we're just delusional.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe that's what it
maybe
is.
that's what it is. We just went, oh, this can't be that hard.
It's gonna be easy to do. We're creative. We can get it done. Anyway,
Surely there's
it
someone that
takes
can help.
yeah.
Oh my God, tell me about it. So then, okay, all joking aside, how the hell did you build a tech platform?
Uh yeah, a lot of research.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
took, and like I said, took 4 years. So it was a good 18 months of just a lot of research, asking people. I actually created my own app for my own membership at one point.
Ooh.
So by doing that, I, mentioned it to people and they're like, oh, how did you do it? So I realized there was a need. So during that process, there was a lot of, surveys, questions, finding out, but also I studied. And, look, as a buyer, I understood there's ways that you have to explain a brief if you want a product developed. You've got to understand the language of the manufacturer, etc. So for me, I wanted to understand how I could communicate with ease with a developer. So I studied UX a little bit, understand wireframes and everything, and then the UI journey, like the UI look and feel, and so I just packaged it all up, and then that was the moment where I went, all right, I know what is needed. I know how I've sort of got to get it flowing. And then, yeah, just did a lot of research on, and look, like and you'd get this too. You go in there, you find a developer. It's usually based on price because you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars, especially if you're bootstrapping. And look, the first person, we've gone to three of them. First person was using templates, and I'm like, no, we don't use templates. So got rid of them. Second person promised the whole world, didn't deliver, like not even half of it. And so we left them. And interestingly enough, the third, and the person who has been with us for all this time, he's an architect. And I never forget, it was a Friday afternoon, called him up. I told him what the brief was and everything. He came back and said, look, this is like massive. I don't know if I can do this. And I just begged. I begged for him.
Wow.
I go, I don't know why, but you have to be on my team. And it's just been absolutely amazing since then. And he is just friggin' awesome. So yeah, I think, intuition played a huge part in it. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I love that you started that with research and educating yourself, because that is a smart road. I did not do that. I just learnt by failing.
But hey, I still failed along the way, babe. Like it just happens.
Oh my God. But it's so interesting because it's such a common story with especially non-tech
Mm,
founders
yeah.
going into the technology space, going through so many different developers. So
Mm,
experimenting with outsourcing, experimenting with agencies, experimenting with full-time developers, but getting kind of screwed every step of the way. Like it's so, I feel like tech is, and don't get me wrong, there's some really good tech people out there, and I've had great experiences, but I feel like because it's so like technical, for want of a better word,
yeah.
there are a lot of people out there that do pull the wool over your eyes a little bit, and you
Yeah.
do have to be, like you said, super clear on the brief,
Mm.
and but also like willing to stand up for yourself and move on. I
Yeah,
do.
that pulling the trigger is the hardest part. But you know what? There comes a point, and I never forget when we did take on the second guys, there was this feeling of I'm just not sure about it. But I
Yeah.
just put that down to I'm just not educated enough in this to really trust myself. So I just went ahead.
Mm.
And then as things went on, but you realize it. I think we all go through that process. There's no time, there's never a right time. If it's just not working, if your business isn't going the way it's supposed to be going, that you plan for it to go, you have to reevaluate and pull the trigger if you have to. If you don't, the further you dive deep into it, the harder it is to get out. So
Oh my God, there are no truer words. And I mean, that like just goes beyond tech developers, beyond
yeah,
technology.
everything.
That's literally everything, isn't it? I mean, holding on to an employee of any description, or
Yeah,
even holding on to a strategy,
yeah,
like it's really interesting that you bring this up, because we've been talking a lot lately about, everyone's having a bit of a tough time in business right now. And we're saying words like the economy and cost of living crisis and da 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 da. But one thing I've been really feeling is, okay, really what this comes down to is what we're doing right now isn't working. So we have to change, and we have to change quickly, because you're right. If you don't change, if you don't pull the trigger, if you don't make the hard decisions, you do just go further and further down a path that you
yeah.
don't want to be on.
You've got to be agile. I think in business, you have to be agile. And I look, that could be the creative mind thing. You've got to be willing to see that the path will change sometimes. Like I went from, with my luxury linen business, wholesaling, selling online, retail, to made to order, because
Wow.
that brought down the minimum order quantity on things, and I was, importing and all that sort of stuff. And then it actually moved into consultation, and then that moved into a membership, and then it just, the evolution was there because I had to move with the economy. I had to shift. I didn't want to sit there and go, no, 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 I have to just stay here, Grant. Like there's so many different ways you can market your business,
Mm-hmm.
but there's also different ways you can strategize your business as well. It's not just, this is the be all end all. You can still sell that one product, but it's how you market it or maybe package it. There's so many different ways to sort of shift and review.
Yeah, it's funny. So people used to call me the pivot queen. And I feel like it was derogatory. I felt like they were saying it in a bad way. But it was exactly that,
Yeah.
like 12 years ago when we started Scrunch, my other business, it
Mm.
wasn't an influencer marketing platform. It started out, what did it start out as? It started out as a virtual change room for fashion, and then a fashion discovery platform, and then an inventory management solution, then a social media monitoring tool, and then the influencer marketing platform. It's like, but it
Yeah.
was just, we had no idea what we were doing. We had no tech experience, no business experience. We were literally just like, oh, this is a good idea. Build it. No one wants to buy it. Shit, let's start again. And it's
Yeah.
so funny. Like now I'm like, oh my God, I won't build anything without selling it first now. I'm so scarred. But I
Yeah.
think that's the best advice I can ever give anyone is like actually get someone to pay for something first to validate if it's a good idea
Yeah.
before you spend your life savings on building something.
Yeah.
Take it from me. But yeah, it is really interesting. I don't think pivoting's a bad thing. I think that it's funny. Pre-COVID, I feel like pivoting was bad. COVID happened, it kind of gave us permission a little bit to
Yeah, that's a
pivot.
good point. Yeah, that is. Yeah.
But I think it's just a good sentiment. Like I love the word agile that you used. It
Mm.
is just that if things aren't working, try something new. You're
Okay.
the boss.
Yeah. And it's okay. Give yourself permission. It's all right. Like it's the unknown. Look, I think the biggest thing is, and my coach, I've had her for a few years now, but I've always told her my biggest fear is the unknown, like not knowing what questions to ask,
Yes.
not necessarily the answers, but not knowing what questions to ask. So I think that's probably, that kind of might stop. Excuse me, I can speak English. That might be one thing that might stop people in being agile because
Mm.
they don't know what's going to happen. But that's the fun part of being an entrepreneur. Like it's risky, but it's, you got to take calculated risks. So you just ask the basics, and then as you get in there more and more, you find out more of the questions that you need to ask. So just start asking questions if you need to, change things up a little bit. And it always goes back to, and I saw your recent email, like all these calls, it's always back to community. Support yourself, surround yourself with people who will just, throw out answers at you and just, pick the right one that's for you.
I love that you said that because that's again, so literally we were just talking about, so we are both part of Spark and One Roof. And I just got off a Instagram live with Cherie, the founder of One Roof. And that was literally something that we talked about as well. It's like when times are tough,
Mm.
sometimes, your friends, your family, your partner, people close to you don't really get what you're going through. And
Mm.
so having a community of women in business who can, you know, yeah, just be there for you, but ask you those questions and help you, figure out where you're going, offer up ideas and suggestions. They might not be the right ideas, but they may help you to get to the right
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
It's so nice to know that you're not alone in business.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, you're right. They can
It's so
spark the idea.
yeah, I know. I love it. I love it. Oh my God, that's so good. So, where's the business at now? So, 4 years of product development. Are you, I know, I feel you, the
It
visceral
feels
over
like it
here.
never ends, but no,
Yeah.
no, we got there in
Oh,
the end.
but that is the thing with tech, though. It is never ending, right? Like, there will always be a new feature.
Oh,
That's
gotcha. Oh,
drives
we're
me crazy.
constantly, and now my architect's like, dude, choose a priority first. Let's just slow down.
I'm like, they're all priorities. I would like you to build everything.
One of them. Bye next week.
Yeah,
So no, look, it's March last year we actually launched.
cool.
And look, because my maybe because of my background, like service industry and so forth, I'm very much about customer support. Like support's massive.
Mm,
We built our whole help site, SOPs, everything before we even launched. And
yeah.
then we just literally, as soon as we launched, we did screenshots, videos of everything within that month, and then slotted them into the help site because I had to make sure whoever came on had that support if I wasn't there live to help them. So we actually had a 2 day or 3 day, I think it was 2 day summit where I brought in all these other experts in the industry of online business and selling your knowledge and building a community. That went off with a hit, like massive bang. So that was
Wow.
fantastic. That brought in a whole group of users. And ever since then, it's just been a constant, sort of ride of offering, free webinars, free knowledge sessions, things like that, as well as, extra, just the evolution of the platform has been amazing since March last year to now. It's like completely, not completely flipped, but it's still there. Like the bones are there and everything, but there's just so many, additions that have come through. And I think with everything that's come through has been from feedback. And
Yes.
also it's the pre and post feedback. We bookend all the time. So people who are coming in, looking at it, we have a feedback button on that platform for both members and you and the actual, community experts and so forth. and everyone can either take a screenshot, video of it, send a message, chat to us, anything they want, if any, and just offer if they've got an idea on a new feature, function, whatever it is. And we just take that every week. We do a review revise meeting and we check out what's going on, what people are saying, and then we just start sort of prioritizing based on what they need.
Mm.
And I think because of that, we've been able to grow. Yeah, that's been good.
I think it's such an amazing lesson. I think people get scared of asking their communities for feedback
Mm.
in any industry, whether you're a tech founder, whether you are a, membership community, whether you are a service-based business. I just think that feedback from your customers is absolute gold. Understanding what to build next, even understanding what to sell next, right? That was a
Yeah.
really interesting thing that came up in our talk about, through tough times, what are good strategies. Retaining your existing clients and actually looking after them and actually communicating with them is so valuable because it's so much cheaper to retain business than it is to get new business.
Mm.
But you do that by talking to them.
Yeah.
You do that by getting that feedback.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like it's interesting. Like we've introduced a migration service, right? Which is obviously bringing over content from another platform, or brand new.
Yeah.
But one of the big things before we even did the migration thing was, and we picked up on it. A lot of people were like, "We love the platform. We just haven't. We're too busy." Twiddling our thumbs and deciding how to use the platform. So I introduced a program called Effects, which is officially executing. So just get the stuff on there. And that program I've run twice, and it's just the cohort. Like we just finished that one, the January one finished end of March, but it goes for a whole year. And they actually go through that process of understanding what it is that they want to do. They put it into the platform, and then there's accountability for the rest of the year where we touch base constantly. So
Wow.
for us, with respect to feedback, it really helped me gauge the problems people are having to choose a platform, for one,
Yes.
how
Yep.
they're going to use the platform, and how they're going to continue growing on the platform, because we've built the platform for them. So I need to know how they're going to use it, why they're going to use it, how, all that sort of stuff. So feedback is a massive thing. And obviously as a product developer, we understand that everything that we're doing is for other people. So we need to talk to those other people. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really interesting. I think it's super underrated in terms of even new revenue opportunities. Listening to your customers and figuring out what they need is
Yeah.
also a great way to invent new products and sell new things or sell another tier, whether it be an extra level of support or a done for you service or that
Mm.
one-on-one coaching or, whatever it might be. But again, just goes back to that talking to your customers, understanding why they're either twiddling their thumbs or why they are stalling actually getting in the platform or whatever it might be. I think it's so powerful. So
Mm.
then tell me, over time, over the last 4 years of building this, what do you think have been the biggest challenges that you've faced in business?
Someone asked me this not long ago. I think I read an article and someone asked me that question. I think it was the whole equilibrium between innovation, support, financial. It's all of this sort of trying to keep staying progressive
Yeah.
in your product. And like you said, people sometimes have to pivot, or add an extra service, and trying to work out what that service is. Because we can all get that feedback, but the challenge is trying to work out what feedback to engage
Mm,
first. You
mm.
obviously you're going to engage with all feedback, but which one is the first one you're actually going to action, and why, and where is it going to take you if you do engage in that? So, yeah, and look, that's how FX was born, because we engaged with our users and they were asking those questions. We went, oh, okay, we'll do this. You can't do everything, obviously,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the biggest challenges. Well,
I
still
would
is.
tend to agree. No, and I tend to agree with you because it is really like, as a business owner, you've just got so much going on. You are
Mm.
literally every employee, especially at the start, especially in that build phase.
Yeah.
It's really hard to prioritize, isn't it? Like okay, today I have to be a CFO. Today I have to be, briefing the tech team. Today I have to be, oh, now I'm a marketing guru. Like it is the balance and the brain space that
Mm.
requires is huge.
Yeah, yeah, the energy levels it takes.
Oh my
And
God.
just like you said before we started, we've got to remember, to live a life somewhere along the
Yes.
way as well.
What's
It's like,
that?
what's that? But look, as I think every entrepreneur, every person who runs their own business, they never switch off anyway.
No.
But yeah, balancing what hat to wear. Like
Mm,
to me, the word balance doesn't even exist really.
I agree.
But I guess it's just, yeah.
Do you have any strategies that you have adopted to try and bring a little balance slash sanity slash not burn out to your life?
Because I work from home, I do have a 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock time frame for myself where I sit there and go, all right, coffee, get outside, rain, hail, or shine, get
Mm.
outside, sit on the porch, whatever. We have a little resident owl that hangs out at our place. So I'm always going, hey,
Oh.
you're around today? I'm just checking on him. But that's sort of my way of sort of switching off at that time.
Hmm.
Or it's, picking up the kids. But the other thing is the strategy to keep myself going at work is to give myself moments to learn as well, not just do. To
Mm.
me, look, this is the whole reason why I built the platform, but I am passionate about how people learn, how people educate themselves, how people share their stories. Like, this is how humanity evolved, sharing our stories. So learning is a big part of my weekly, not daily, but weekly. Yeah.
I love that because I often feel guilty,
Yeah.
for reading a book or watching a
Yeah.
course or God forbid I attend a webinar live.
You feel bad. You feel like I'm supposed to be doing something. I was really checking things off, but no. Yeah.
Totally, totally. It's really hard to remember that the world doesn't end if you don't tick something off your to-do list, and it's
Yeah.
oftentimes in that learning that you have better ideas,
Mm.
and you come up with different solutions that actually kind of help the to-do list and help the business long term.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're totally spot on there. I reckon it's a big thing. And like, that to-do list thing, I actually said to my daughter once, and I'm really bad with remembering names, really bad.
Oh my
But
God.
there's like this video, there's this YouTube clip of this, I don't know, sergeant, whatever, and he said the first thing, and anyway, I told my daughter this thing. At least if you can do your bed in the morning, that's the first thing that you've done. And if you haven't done
Mm.
anything else or felt like you haven't achieved anything else, when it's time to go to bed, your bed's been done. So you've had a win that day. So don't be so
Oh,
hard on yourself. And she's 13, getting into teenagehood, all this sort of stuff. So she's putting a lot of pressure on herself. She's a very creative mind. And I think it's just that having that mindset at an early stage will help you through if you are an entrepreneur or if you're, whatever kind of field you're going to go into, having that ability to just be kind to yourself with your task list and remembering you're allowed to live life, you're allowed to learn, you're allowed to get out there and walk around, whatever, you are allowed.
I love it. Be kind to yourself. That is, oh my God, I feel like that should be on a poster somewhere or somewhere. Just to be constant reminder to us business owners.
Yeah.
It is interesting, isn't it? I know like a lot of people listening in do have that voice inside their head that is, why haven't we done this? Or it's not good enough, and or I'm not far enough along, or I haven't achieved enough. But it does take time, doesn't it? And the
Yeah.
small wins are still wins.
I'm a huge I actually wrote an article on it, I think, where I'm sick of hearing all of these, build this course in 2 days and sell it.
Oh my God.
It's like I'm so over hearing that shit. Excuse my language,
You
but
can be a
I can't.
billionaire in 17
Yeah,
seconds.
it's like piss off. Like that kind of stuff just
Totally.
really
Oh,
annoys
it
me.
drives me nuts as well.
And
Like, seriously.
I've literally got this little thing on the side of my desk here, and it's got smile your smile, slow down, you're doing great. And that's something my daughter said to me. And I've got it up on the wall next to me. And every now and then it's like, yeah, slow down. I do tend to talk fast, as you can tell.
I
So my
love it.
brain goes a million miles an hour. And she's always said, just slow down, mummy. Just slow down. It's okay. And I think we all have to tell ourselves that every now and then.
Totally, totally. I think that be kind to yourself. The other thing I'm like, while we're talking about, doing all of the things and being kind to ourselves, and things being tough and having to pivot and all of these concepts that we're
Mm,
throwing around, the other one that's coming up for me lately that I've landed on the last couple of days is, you can feel like shit, like you can feel like overwhelmed and the world is on fire and my business sucks and I want to quit and all the things, but still do stuff. Like you can
yeah.
feel like shit and still send the email or still send the proposal you said you would send. I
Yeah.
just feel like there's also this funny thing, like, and I think it goes back to this rhetoric that we see on Instagram about how you're supposed to run your business.
Mm,
And there is supposed to be, oh, it's supposed to be easy and flowy and joyful and all of the things. And look, don't get me wrong, I'd love a little bit more of all that stuff in my business too. But I also think there are seasons, and sometimes the season is this is really fucking hard, and I still have to show up and respond to my customers or get
yeah.
feedback or look after my team.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, what are your thoughts?
Oh, exactly that. I was literally doing a podcast with two other women that were doing a series on, and we were talking about nurturing. You put
Mm,
out an offer out there, you have to nurture it. It's like having a child. Like you don't just give birth to the child and go, see you later. Like you've got to nurture it and you have to nurture. And sometimes you just got to turn up, every day you got to turn up and you just pull through. And sometimes, and
mm,
I'm not going to deny this, that I haven't had moments of like literally crying and breaking down. Like I have had those moments and it's just like, you know what? All right, I've cried it.
yep,
What is it that I just need to do? All right, is that on my checklist? I'll just do it, get that done, and then I'll nick off, go have a glass of wine, or come back, meditate, whatever it is that I know
yep.
will just chill me. But um, yeah, that comes back down to again that just
Mm,
allowing yourself those moments. We're all bloody human. We're not mechanical like robots out there to do everything. We might act like them every now and then when we've got to tick off a task, like send an email, but
yep.
it's it is what it is.
Yeah, and it is funny, like I agree, like you've got to feel the feelings, you've got to sometimes you do have to cry it out and have
Yeah.
the glass of wine. Like it is just, yeah, I just think that it's really we've got to like talk the real talk, right? Because there
Yeah.
is so much of this highlight reel of how amazing things should be
Mm.
on Instagram. I'm calling out Instagram a lot today. But it is, I do see all of these stories and I think it just sucks because it's not like that. I've been in business for 12 years now. And don't get me wrong, like there's been some great moments, great milestones, all of the things. But I'm telling you, it's like 90% hard.
I never forget to now. There was a moment I literally sent a messenger chat to some awesome women that I know out there that I had I've got great clicks with, and it was interesting after it because everyone went, "Oh my god, we're all on here together. This is just weird." But I sent them a message saying, "I'm having a freaking panic attack. I'm just really questioning myself. I just need your support. Please, just I don't know what to do. I couldn't even verbalize, really articulate what it was that I was feeling. It was just like I'm not. I don't know who to turn to. I can't turn to my friends, just like you said. Sometimes it's like
Mhm.
your friends, your family don't really get it. And there was all these things going on, and just within like not even a minute, one of them came back, and then another one. And this was all I think on a Friday night. I was getting ready to go out with my husband somewhere, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" So there are people out there that you don't. And I actually sent it out and thinking, I don't know if anyone's going to answer this, but we're all there for each other because we get it. We've
Mhm.
all been there, even though Instagram, it's all that visual prettiness bullshit. Um, there's reality there, and I think we're all aware of it, especially in these groups and these type of networks.
It's nice to know that you're not alone, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really nice to know that, as driven and ambitious and as huge goals that we have for ourselves and our business, there will be tough days, but there are women out there. It always blows my mind as to how much women won't ask for help, but then B, how much women are willing to help their other women. Like if we would just ask each other and for support, like it would come back 100-fold because women are so amazing at supporting each other.
Yeah. And but that's actually, I didn't make a point of it, but those women that I asked in that group are women that you would probably think, yeah, they probably go through their things, but they look like they've got the most glam lives or whatever. It's
Mm.
just, it was one of those things where it was, yay, you feel it too. Like it's not just me. So yeah. Anyway.
No, I love it. I just, again, I think it's important to have the real conversations that, because I firmly believe there's going to be someone listening into this who's like, oh, good, I'm having a shit day today. Who should I turn to?
Exactly.
Oh, God, I love it so much. I feel like we could just talk forever.
Yeah.
So, one last question that I love to leave our Spark TV guests with is, so reflecting on your time in business,
Mm-hmm.
what would be one piece of advice that you would give to another woman who, to help her along her journey in business?
I have two words that I constantly say, and it's grit and agility. Like just have grit, get up, keep going, because you have the energy to do it. You can do this, and be agile. So yeah, just move about. Just move. Don't let anyone become your barrier. Jump over them, go around them, whatever.
I love that so much. I think that like literally sums up my journey in business as well. Like just keep going and find a way. Like agility is such a great word for, once upon a time we potentially called it pivoting. Once, whatever it is, it's just
The
like,
corporate word, corporate
yeah,
speak.
totally, totally.
Let's pivot.
Totally. But like find a solution, find a way. There's always a way. That's one lesson I've learned. As grim as things may seem, there's always a way.
Always there is. Yeah.
Oh, Nikki, you are so amazing. Thank you
So are you, Danielle.
so
Thank you.
much. Thank you
I
so
could
much
do
for
this
coming on
again with
Spark
you
TV.
anytime. You're
I
always
love it. I
welcome.
have a feeling there will be more chats in our future,
Yeah.
definitely. No, but that's so good. We will link up to the platform as well because I know, anyone building those communities should be checking it out and making sure that they jump on. So we'll absolutely link it up through the show notes and all of our social call outs. So thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you, Danielle, for having me.